Hey, what is going on, guys? Tony here, CCxRC, and today on the bench we're going to be working on the SCX24s. These are fun little vehicles that we use in the house, but also we've taken them outside some, and we took them to Axial Fest recently. And now that our local track that we have here has a little course for these, we want to get these things up and running and performing really well. So I have to choose one of these that I want to upgrade. So we've got the Deadbolt, we've got like the old Chevy C10, and we've got the Rubicon right here, which looks like my truck a little bit. This has been painted, got a clear body. I'll link to that. And actually I need to repair this shock. These do just pop on and off, which makes it nice. It's easy to pop on and off. And being in a bag traveling from Axial Fest, it looks like it has gotten popped off. There, fixed it. So I think what I'm going to do is do the upgrades for this guy right here, because I love it. It looks like my Jeep. I do need to get my black wheels still to match it, but we're going to be putting on some of these hot racing reservoir friction dampers. So just some little shock change here. And we're also going to be adding on a few other pieces. Some wheel weights and a brass diff cover. This is a 9-gram front diff cover is where we're going to put it. Try and keep some of that weight on the front end down a little bit. Keep it from rolling. So one of the other things that I picked up because of recommendation from you guys is for my power drill. It is a 0.5 millimeter AE 0.05, sorry, or with a 1/4 hex on, or 1/4 end on it to go into our driver. I have two of them because I figured I'd probably lose it, and it's going to be invaluable because I was trying to work on this thing and I didn't have anything this small, and now that I know of this, it seemed like something that I just needed to get to work on these. So first things first, let's zoom in here and let's work on changing this. Our lighting is not set up very good for it. Let's go ahead and try and brighten up the scene a little. So I'm just going to get in here behind all this stuff and just try and move it out of the way and get in here with my driver and pull these out. Gonna make quick work of this job. So I'm gonna twist it this way now. That frees up me to get in here with the driver. Now, in theory, this plate should just pop right off of here. So we'll see. Yep. Comes right off. Give us a little look of the worm gear in there. Go ahead and put the other one on. So you want to make sure you don't miss this bearing that's in this. There it goes. They're very out of focus for that, but there's a tiny little bearing that you don't want to miss when you put this on. Part sticking out here. There we go. It should push right into place. There we go, sitting in place. Now I'm going to gently bring this in because I don't want to strip it. I say that every time. And then I'll hand tighten it at the very end. All right, there's that. All right, so now that I've done several of these, I feel pretty comfortable about explaining the process to you and showing you how it works. I've got it on 3 of them already. The fronts are the harder, so that's what I'll show you. The rear is actually pretty easy to get at because you don't have the knuckle there. But basically, you're going to be installing this onto the axle behind the pin. This is an extra piece, so if you don't buy this extra weight and you just buy these hex weights here, this is what will go behind the pin instead of this. So we'll show you in a minute as we get this off. But it's pretty straightforward. But it works. So we'll take that off. We're not going to need it. We are going to have to pull out this little hex here. It's plastic. It usually sticks in. It's stuck in every one so far. Now it's open there in the back so that you'll be able to set it onto this one. All right, before we keep moving, I'm going to go ahead and pull this pin out because we don't want to lose it, and we're going to need it. Very small. Just dropped it right to the table down below here so that we do not lose it. Back up to the top, we're going to go ahead and remove the shocks. If you have new shocks that you want to put on, I've heard that these hot racing are one of the best upgrades, having these new shocks. So this one's a little trickier to get at because of the knuckle, but we did all right. There we go. I'm going to keep all that for a later use. Before we finish up, the one thing we do want to do is add a little shock oil here. And they call for CST 2000 to 3000. I only have 1000. So the shock fluid that I have is not quite what they're asking for, but we're going to put it in anyway just to get a little bit of dampening from it. I'm sure that having something thicker would be way better. But we're going to add just a little bit here. They say not to fill it, overfill it. So we're just putting the littlest bit in here and kind of working it in there. So we do have to do this to all 4 shocks, putting in this oil and just kind of filling it up, but not all the way to the top, just adding some to it to add a little dampening. And yeah. Get them all set and then installed on the vehicle. One thing to note about these shocks is the direction of kind of this pivot ball in here. You want the larger side facing outward. Your screw will go into that. That way it doesn't slip off it. Like the current shocks have this problem with slipping off all the time. So make sure these are lined up so that they are facing, so that the bigger side is going to be facing toward your, it'll keep the shocks on so it won't keep popping off like the stock ones do. Next part is we're going to grab the screws for the shocks. I'm going to open that up. I go ahead and just get them ready one at a time. So there's the front one right there, and we'll set it in place. And we're going to use our eyesight to line this up like so that it is in place and ready for us to just screw in. Good. We're going to ready our next screw. Now I just realized that I had popped my drive shaft, so we're going to go ahead and make sure this is put back in while we still have the extra flex. Have to start at a little bit of an angle till you clear that knuckle, and then you can straighten it out. There you go. So this is the hard part right here, and that is to get this pin in. So you're going to slide this on, and I like to try and get it so that it'll be coming in from a side here. Now this is going to be tough with focus, so I'm going to go ahead and just go manual focus on it. And try and get everything into the focused area. So what I do is I pick up the pin right in the middle of it so that I can easily fit inside of here with it. And then once I get it in there and in line, I'll let go and grab it by the back and then push it in. And that's the easiest way I've found. So we've already gone and done it, which is fantastic. Now we'll be able to put this in there. You can see it's slotted, and so you just line that up. There you go. We're going to put our wheel on that, and we have to use these new wheel nuts which push through and thread on. So find my wheel. We're just going to slide it onto the hex so it lines up. Now that wheel wrench that I used before no longer works, and I didn't grab another one, so I've just been using my needle nose for this part. I'll get it in, and you can hand tighten it quite a ways, so you don't have to really work the threads too much with the needle nose. Just the final little twists. There it is, nice and snug. And that is it. Those are the upgrades. All right, so when we're looking at the shock difference, it's a little bit minimal. This does have extra weight in it. The next thing we're going to have to upgrade is going to be the servo, because this servo, moving these big weighted tires around, is going to be, I think, a little bit tricky for it. So that's that. This one has a little bit more spring than the other ones. Definitely a little bit more bouncy. But overall, it's kind of hard to see it. You can definitely feel it, the difference in the shocks, and the travel. This has a lot more travel than this, especially these ones. So definitely a better feeling experience, quieter, softer, but stiffer. These are stiffer springs in this one, so a little bit different kind of bounce to it, dropping them from the same height. Let's give a better view here. We're going to drop them from the same height, see the difference, just out of frame. Bounce and drop. A lot of that has to do with the weight down there. This is a little bit more bounce. I mean, this still has some bounce to it, but it definitely drops it. And it really depends on how it hits. Definitely you can feel the thud of that one. Why is it doing that? Okay. So definitely a different experience here. Still a little bouncy, but we get some good flex with it. A little bit of added suspension there. Because of the longer shocks. But yeah, I like it. Feels good. I may have to try the other springs, and I'm definitely going to be looking for a little bit thicker weight oil in there. But let's go ahead and weigh them now and see what kind of weight differences we have on them. Well, what I should have done is weighed this truck before I put all the weights in, but we'll go ahead and weigh them all and see kind of what the average is. So this one is 7.27, 7.23 ounces, 7.27 ounces, and this one is 9.84 ounces. So we gained a few more ounces of weight in this, especially down low. And I mean, you definitely notice the difference when you pick them up. Plus you add batteries to it, you'll have a little bit more weight, but they'll all get that extra weight. So that's a quick way to make your vehicles a little bit more, have a little bit better handling on the trail. So we'll next get some footage of this running for you guys to be able to see it. But thanks for tuning in. As always, guys, have fun RCing, and we will catch you in the next video.